New details have emerged regarding Ilia Topuria's ongoing situation as the MMA world continues to wait for his return to the Octagon. While fans are eager to see the reigning star back in action, much of the attention has recently shifted toward the high-profile and contentious divorce proceedings between Topuria and Georgina Ascade. According to a recent report shared by Championship Rounds, Spanish outlet Marca has revealed several important developments that could signal positive news for Topuria moving forward. On January 7th, Topuria appeared in court following a request from Georgina to receive permission to travel from Spain to Miami with their daughter. After reviewing the case, the court ruled entirely in Topuria's favor, dismissing all of Georgina's requests. Georgina had argued that she needed to leave Spain due to online harassment. However, the judge rejected this claim, pointing out that the flight tickets in question were purchased 12 days before Topuria released a public statement that later drew widespread media attention. The court also addressed the issue of parental access, noting that Topuria had been unable to see his daughter for 4 months. The judge concluded that this separation was the result of the mother's decision to prevent contact, not any action taken by Topuria himself. For fans hoping to see Topuria back in the cage soon, these developments appear to be a step in the right direction. With key legal obstacles seemingly being cleared, the path may finally be opening for him to refocus on his fighting career. Meanwhile, tensions elsewhere in the lightweight division continue to rise, with heated exchanges recently taking place between Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker, adding even more intrigue to an already volatile MMA landscape. Have escalated between Paddy Pimblett and Dan Hooker, following a heated exchange that has quickly caught the attention of the MMA community. While the two fighters have not been officially booked to face one another, recent comments suggest that bad blood is brewing and that a potential matchup could become very real. The situation began when Pimblett appeared on an interview with MMA Guru while discussing his upcoming fight against Justin Gaethje. During the conversation, Pimblett took a shot at Hooker, responding to claims that Gaethje is past his prime by pointing out that Gaethje is only 2 years older than Hooker. Pimblett also criticized Hooker's grappling ability, dismissing it as a weakness in his overall skill set. Those remarks quickly reached Hooker, who fired back with a strong response through a video and public comments. Hooker expressed disappointment, suggesting that Pimblett had not made such comments when the two were face-to-face, and questioning the sincerity of their supposed friendship. He made it clear that once someone is ranked above him, he no longer views them as an ally, adding that competition brings out a ruthless mindset in him. Hooker emphasized that he has no issue with fighters ranked behind him, but anyone standing in his way becomes an enemy. Pimblett did not take the response lightly, especially after Hooker referenced a close friend of his who has passed away. Pimblett condemned the remark, calling it disrespectful and crossing a line. He stated that while trash talk about fighting skills is part of the sport, involving personal loss is unacceptable. Pimblett also made it clear that if Hooker wants to settle things in the Octagon, he is more than willing. With emotions running high, it will be interesting to see how this rivalry develops. If Pimblett falls short at UFC 324, the UFC could very well consider matching him up with Hooker next, turning this war of words into a highly anticipated showdown. Colby Covington and Luke Rockhold joined forces in an unexpected way as they both took aim at Bo Nickal during the pre-fight press conference for the latest Real American Freestyle event. While Covington and Rockhold are set to face each other in the event's main attraction, the focus briefly shifted to Nickal, who is scheduled to compete against Yoel Romero in the co-main event. Tensions flared when verbal shots were exchanged at the media event, turning the spotlight toward Nickal's growing profile in combat sports. Covington, never one to shy away from controversy, dismissed Nickal's status and questioned his credentials as a headliner. He positioned himself as a major draw in wrestling and combat sports history, arguing that star power and personality are essential to elevating the sport. Covington suggested that wrestling needs outspoken figures who are willing to call their shots rather than remaining quiet and reserved. Rockhold echoed similar sentiments, questioning Nickal's experience at the highest level and pointing out that he has yet to headline a major event. Both Covington and Rockhold emphasized that main events should be reserved for proven names with a track record of success, not rising prospects who are still building their resumes. They framed their criticism around longevity, accomplishments, and marketability, arguing that respect in combat sports must be earned. The exchange escalated as Covington and Rockhold continued to challenge Nickal's standing in both wrestling and MMA, suggesting that he has not yet done enough to warrant the attention he is receiving. They also highlighted MMA's role in bringing mainstream exposure to wrestling, claiming that Nickal has yet to make a meaningful impact in that arena. Although Nickal did not engage extensively in the back and forth, the heated comments added another layer of drama to an already stacked card. With egos clashing and reputations on the line, the situation underscored the growing tension between established veterans and emerging stars in combat sports, setting the stage for further rivalries both inside and outside competition. Justin Gaethje's future in MMA could be decided at UFC 324, as new comments suggest the veteran may retire if he fails to capture the interim lightweight title. Gaethje previously made headlines when he stated that he would consider walking away if he was not granted another title opportunity. Now, it appears that this upcoming fight may represent his final chance to reach the top. Gaethje is scheduled to face Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight belt at UFC 324 in Las Vegas. Ahead of the event, his longtime head coach Trevor Wittman spoke with ESPN MMA and revealed just how high the stakes are. According to Wittman, this is Gaethje's last run at gold, and if he does not win, he has no interest in continuing his career as a gatekeeper or chasing money fights. Wittman emphasized that Gaethje is driven by goals, not longevity for its own sake. If Gaethje does secure the belt, Wittman hopes he will remain active and defend it multiple times. However, he also acknowledged that Gaethje understands the importance of family, health, and knowing when to walk away. At 37 years old, and after enduring countless wars inside the Octagon, retirement would not come as a surprise if he falls short. Wittman also hinted that Gaethje could rely more heavily on his wrestling in this matchup, noting the significant time he has invested in improving his grappling and positional control. While similar claims have been made before without much wrestling actually being used, the camp insists they are prepared for every scenario. Despite betting odds favoring Pimblett, Michael Chandler recently explained why he leans toward Gaethje. Chandler cited Gaethje's reach, kicking ability, patience, and experience as key advantages, calling him a different level of competitor. While Chandler praised Ilia Topuria as possibly the most skilled fighter in the UFC today, he admitted that if fans are rooting for a veteran to finally achieve gold, Gaethje is the clear choice. With everything on the line, UFC 324 may determine whether Justin Gaethje becomes a champion or closes the final chapter of a legendary career. Bo Nickal's rapid rise in the UFC may have come at a cost, according to one of his own coaches. Following Nickal's recent loss to Reinier de Ridder, longtime American top team coach Mike Brown shared candid thoughts that have sparked discussion about whether the UFC pushed the undefeated prospect too quickly against elite competition. Speaking with MMA Fighting, Brown acknowledged what many inside Nickal's camp already suspected. He explained that Nickal was progressing at an extremely fast pace, perhaps faster than was ideal for long-term development. Brown stated that everyone involved was aware of the situation, including Nickal himself and the management team, but circumstances surrounding pay and promotion played a major role. According to Brown, once a fighter begins receiving significant paychecks, the expectations change. Fighters earning top-tier money are no longer given favorable matchups or developmental fights. Instead, they are matched against serious contenders and established names. Brown emphasized that Nickal's financial success and growing profile meant that easier fights were no longer an option. He explained that fighters competing on preliminary cards do not receive the same compensation as those featured higher on the bill. As Nickal's visibility and earnings increased, so did the level of opposition he was expected to face. That combination, Brown suggested, contributed to Nickal being placed in high-risk matchups earlier than might have been ideal. Despite the setback, Brown's comments were not framed as excuses, but rather as an honest assessment of the business realities of the sport. The situation highlights the delicate balance between marketability, opportunity, and proper fighter development in modern MMA. While Nickal remains one of the most talented wrestlers to enter the UFC, his coach's remarks suggest that patience may be key as he regroups and continues to evolve as a complete mixed martial artist. The idea of Alex Pereira potentially knocking out Jon Jones has become a major talking point in the MMA world, with some believing the matchup could pose a rare threat to the longtime champion. Jon Jones has spent the majority of his career avoiding serious damage, rarely absorbing clean fight-altering strikes. However, former light heavyweight champion Jan Blachowicz believes Pereira could be the fighter capable of doing what few others ever have. Speculation around a possible clash between Jones and Pereira has grown in recent months, largely because both fighters have publicly expressed interest in the matchup. Pereira's devastating knockout power and striking pedigree make him a unique challenge, even for someone as accomplished and well-rounded as Jones. Speaking recently with Home of Fight, Blachowicz shared his thoughts on Pereira's chances should the fight ever materialize. He stated that Pereira absolutely has the power to finish Jones, emphasizing that Pereira's striking ability could allow him to end the fight before it reaches the later rounds. Blachowicz suggested that if Pereira finds his moment, the outcome could be decided quickly. Despite the growing buzz, the reality is that the matchup remains unlikely for now. Jones recently told Red Corner MMA that he does not believe UFC President Dana White is interested in booking the bout at this time. While the idea of the two stars sharing the Octagon continues to fuel debate among fans and analysts, no concrete plans appear to be in motion. For now, the potential showdown remains a fantasy fight, but one that continues to capture attention due to Pereira's rare knockout power and Jones' legendary ability to avoid danger. If the fight were ever made, it would represent one of the most intriguing stylistic matchups in UFC. Tsarukyan has made it clear that he has no interest in serving as a backup fighter for UFC 324, despite holding the position of #1 contender in the lightweight division. Following his dominant victory in November, which extended his winning streak to 5, many fans believed Tsarukyan had done more than enough to earn a direct title shot. However, when the UFC announced that Paddy Pimblett would face Justin Gaethje for the interim lightweight title at UFC 324, Tsarukyan was once again left out of the picture. The decision sparked widespread frustration among fans and analysts, with many questioning why the division's top contender was overlooked. This led to speculation over whether Tsarukyan could at least serve as the official backup for the January 24 title fight. Tsarukyan quickly shut down that idea. Speaking recently with Shaquille Majori, he explained that the UFC never approached him about the role and that he would not put his body through a difficult weight cut without a guaranteed fight. Tsarukyan stated that cutting weight is extremely demanding and stressful, and he is no longer willing to do it simply for financial compensation. He emphasized that if he is going to make the sacrifice, it needs to be for an actual bout, not a contingency plan. While he said he would have considered it if the UFC had asked, no such request was made. He also referenced his experience last June when he successfully cut weight to serve as the backup for the Ilia Topuria versus Charles Oliveira fight. Despite completing a full training camp and weight cut, the opportunity never materialized, leaving him drained with nothing to show for it. Tsarukyan's comments highlight growing frustration with the title picture and reinforce his stance that he deserves a real opportunity rather than another thankless backup role. For now, the lightweight contender appears focused on preserving his health and waiting for a guaranteed path to the belt.